Hello everyone, Matthew Silpot here and welcome to Missa Sar's Music Zone, and today I want to share some thoughts on assessment and practice. Now recently I'd shared a video on how we treat assessments within a space. You can consider this probably a part 2, but I want to talk about two aspects of this. So one is on the part of the facilitator, aka teacher, and the other part is on the part of the learner, right, or aka the student. Now, when we talk about assessments, preparing for assessments, a lot of times we get flustered because we don't know exactly how we should go about assessments, or how to make it standardized according to other areas, because a lot of times administrations push for online testing, e-testing aka, or mostly pen and paper types of assessments. We know that we do have the formative and summative assessments, and here we talk about music education, so I'm talking about assessments in music education. Now our area is a very practical one, and most of what we do in music education is practice. Yes, we do theory, or we do content and pedagogy, we do performance, and we do composition that may encompass some writing or notating, but most of what we do in music education is through practice. So if we're doing theory, we're constantly practicing. If we're doing performance, of course, we're practicing. And if we're doing composition, we're still doing that practice. And a lot of times, our assessments are constant or consistent or ongoing, because if we're within a class setting, you still have to assess how students are doing sitting, that's posture. We still have to assess how they are going about their technical requirements, or their technique. Say for example, within vocal or instrumental development, you want to ensure that there's proper technique that is being applied. We also want to keep on assessing that there is melodic and rhythmic accuracy, along with other things such as working within groups, or simply just applying improvisational type of things. So those things will inform your assessment. And I know because of our practical nature, people would want to see something on paper to align with other areas such as math or language content windows. So what I suggest that we do, colleagues, is that you would provide a rubric, because most of what we do, if we're assessing any of those things that I mentioned before, then you provide a rubric that caters to those areas, and those will be marks allotted for them, so they will exactly see how we are using these areas, how we are assessing these students within that space. Also, we would know our content in terms of our syllabus or curriculum. You know what objectives are being taught over a time. We know what our benchmarks are, or attainment targets, if you will. So those would be there to guide the assessments as well. So we would make reference to that part, which would be our curriculum or our syllabus, and this would be informing our assessment and how we go about that. So be not flustered. What perhaps you can do within your preparations for your classes or your interactions is that you would have your timeline, and perhaps if you're working with units or the whole syllabus over time, then you'll have already prepared those assessments that you would be administering. Um, Another thing too is that you want to ensure that your students are familiar with the type of assessments that you would be doing. So there's proper guidance, there's proper um, administration of it, because a lot of times if the students are not familiar with a particular assignment or assessment, kind of using assessment now, because is nothing more than flustering a student at the end, because they would not be used to that type of assessment. So for example, if you're used to giving a paper, you're doing multiple choice or short answers, once you tell them to do a practical assessment, a practical performance, then that is a good recipe for disaster, because a lot of students break under pressure like that. So we want to simulate what we're doing. You also want to guide what you would be doing, so they are fully aware of this process. Now, the next aspect on the part of the students would be, the first thing is that you would need to know what you're getting assessed on. So what are the areas? What are the big we have different levels of education. Perhaps a secondary student would have more autonomy or liberty to have a syllabus laid in front of them. Earlier grades would be guided, and of course, later tertiary level, you definitely have to know your syllabus, because a lot of times the onus is on us, because our practices are student centered. So of course, if there are problems or any misconceptions, then you reach out to your facilitator or your teacher. So you want to be familiar with the content areas. You also want to know exactly, well, not exact questions, but exactly what type of areas you'll be getting assistance. So for example, you're getting, on balance and blend. You want to know that you're getting assessed on rhythmic accuracy and melodic accuracy. You want to know that you're getting assessed perhaps on posture, good posture, and you want to get assessed on proper playing or singing technique. So if it's vocal or instrumental development, you want to ensure that you have those areas covered. And of course, you can request a copy of the rubric for yourself, so you can be guided by that. So if there's a rubric that's being designed, you ask your facilitator if you can have the rubric, so you can know exactly what you prepare for, because exactly that, having that will be giving you a guideline in terms of what you prepare for, unless it is totally a surprise. So, a lot of times we are fearful of assessments because we don't like to see people with pens and papers in front of us while we perform. And you, especially if you're a facilitator, is being accompanied by others. So if there's a panel of 2 or 3 facilitators, then that would cause the knees to be shaking and the nerves to be rocking. But hey, assessments are for you to show off what you have covered over the particular period of time that you'd have been working with your facilitator. So do not be fearful. Embrace assessment, because you want to know that you understand this content, you understand how to put it in practice, and you understand how to do a remarkable job in terms of that. So, and a lot of times that we are fearful because we're not sure, and that's the reason why we do assessment. We want to ensure that you are sure of the content, you completely understand and are able to apply within any given setting. So whether it be through theory, performance, or composition, then you understand what it takes or what you need to do to get through. All right, so assessments are really to help you to move on to the next level. So you want to embrace that and show that you are able to do that. So embrace assessments, work with the syllabus, work with this facilitator, and see you next time on Missa Sar's Music Zone. One love.